Three, two, one, liftoff.
Cannabinoid Connect, the nation's most diverse cannabis-related podcast.
And we are recording. Kyle, welcome back to the podcast. It's great to have you, man.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to talk with you again. I think there's a lot we need to catch up on.
We do. I was thinking about what we had discussed last time, and one thing that stood out was that milestone that you hit of 30 million joints rolled at the time, among other things that we discussed. So, yeah, I'm sure you've come a long way since then. I think it's been over a year.
Yeah, dude, I think we just crossed 120 million. So yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
So a lot's been going on and a lot to talk about because I know, the Blackbird is out, and I was checking out your website, which we'll kind of go through a little later. I want to share my screen because the website you have, the landing page is great. It really goes into detail, the device and how it all works, which was great. I haven't seen a website like that. So very differentiated. And then we'll talk about the Blackbird XXL. So, before we do that though, Kyle, let's just talk about automation in general, right? I mean, RollPros being an automation company, let's talk about maybe the unique challenges of automating and handling joint rolling, right, within the industry, and maybe how it's evolved even since we talked last.
Yeah. Well, so automation in cannabis, I think for the most part has been what I've seen a lot of is a lot of people trying to take like current automation technology, say for like packaging or farming, and they try to like just rework something that they've already built to like insert it into cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of people that did that are, starting to realize kind of the hard way that it's not, this is like a very unique material biomass to be working with. And so, I'm seeing a lot of machines that are kind of like similar to mine in intent, but they require you to like change your flower to fit into their machine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, like a huge miss, because it's about like preserving the flower, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
making sure that it's, fresh, sticky, and like has all the right attributes. And then your automation should really just kind of accentuate that or preserve that. And I think that yeah, there's a lot of my competitors they're kind of feeling that pain now. And there's a few companies like us out there that started from the very bottom, being like, all right, we're going to preserve the quality of this flower first, and then we're gonna design a whole new tech around making sure that that quality gets all the way to the consumer.
Yeah, I know one pain point as a consumer is like the inability to pull, right? Like you see a lot of these machines that cone fill, and when you try to pull on it, there's just it's so difficult. You get tired just trying to get anything then and taste the flower than actually consume it. So that's kind of one area. And then the canoeing. There's this problem, the consistent problem of just one side burning. So it sounds like you guys from the get-go have kind of just seen these problems, addressed them, and then even tried to adapt with, again, the evolution of how this flower is growing, right?
Totally. Yeah, that was like one of my first realizations when I saw how they were filling cones. Is I'm like, dang, like no wonder they're having issues with canoes and poles, is because they're literally just beholden to like filling a cone from the top. Like
Hmm.
that's all you got. And like honestly, if I was an engineer that had never smoked weed and I was, doing freelance work and somebody brought to me this problem to be like, look, we have this flower and we're trying to fit it in this cone, you know, I'd come to the same conclusion. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's dry that shit out and pulverize it and let's drop it in there. It'll be fine, just like sand. Um, but because I'm a user and a connoisseur, like I'm like, no way, man, we got to make sure this works with like the freshest, stickiest, and yeah, it can't burn. It's got to have good flavor. It's like it's like designing something for myself was kind of like the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, I hear that. No, you gotta have we have full control, and you kind of know exactly what you want and what the issues are that you need to address, which is beautiful. And that's actually a good segue because we've touched on the fundamental flaws of traditional cone stuffing, air quote. But let's now talk about how Blackbird mimics hand rolled quality at scale.
Yeah, and really the scale thing was like a byproduct. Like I really was like I just wanted something in my garage that I could be like, "Hey guys, come check this out. I can roll the perfect joint with this little mechanism." And all of a sudden, it started rolling like quantities. Um, and so that was the antithesis of it was like we started with quality first, um, with no real intention on having scalability. And then the scale came with time and it came with like, okay, let's eke a little, millisecond off this cycle here. Okay, let's try a different feed mechanism here. Let's try a bigger motor here. And so really like at the basis of everything, and my customers all feel this too, it's like you start with the quality, start with a really quality product, and then the automation, like it just allows you to scale. So it's like the first thing is I don't care if you bring 10,000 joints to the market or 500 joints to the market, make sure that they are perfect, and people are going to come back for them. It's like the pre-roll is this like desolate, shelf of just like, these sad cones that everybody's trudged through. And when they find a good joint, they're like, dang, this works, this hits. This is what I would roll for myself. And then people just come back for convenience and they trust your brand. They know this is going to be a quality joint. And next thing you know, yeah, these machines are just producing more and more joints. And as an operator, you're going to be pretty stoked that you got a machine that can scale to, 250,000 joints a month because it's going to get there someday. You got to dream like that. So, um, yeah, hope that answers your question.
It does, and more. No, I appreciate it, and the way you talked about, the pain point again, going back to like the expectation from the consumer and the consistency and the quality, and they come back, right? I mean, it's a novel idea, but like if it's good quality, like people will return. And I want to dive even deeper. So for those that are watching the podcast. I want to go on Kyle's website here. And again, because I mentioned at the beginning how cool it is, we're scrolling down. So Kyle, do you want to like quickly just touch on each aspect of the Blackbird? And this is, I guess, more for like the engineering nerds out there.
Yeah. So yeah, this machine, especially if you're versed in like the world of filling cones or just making pre-rolls, this machine is making them completely differently. So this is the hopper. This is where you put fresh ground flour. I've got it. It's all open from the top because that's where you're going to be filling it as you go. Um, and then like as you kind of scroll through, we call this techno lust. This is like as you scroll through the page. Um, yeah, so then this is the tension. So because we're actually like rolling joints, you can just on the click of a button like dial in how tightly rolled it is. So you grind it big, grind it fluffy, keep all those, trichomes attached as much as you can, and then you can dial in that draw. So that's what the, kind of like what the user interface does. And then this is where you put the tips. So unlike any other machine, we're actually like creating the joint. So you put the tips in here, you put the paper down below, and it creates the joint within the machine. So you don't you don't have to like buy these expensive handmade cones that are made overseas. You buy these tips, which are machine made, and they can have different branding options. You can do glass tips. You can do, you can add a filter to it if you want. Um, Branding, any kind of stuff you want in the tip. And then you got the paper, which is a separate input. I think we go to that now. Oh yeah, so that actually shows the rolling mechanism. So that's showing like the belt like rolling your joint. And so that's the true roll technology, and that's really what sets us apart.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and then the paper is the like, yeah. So this is cool. This paper comes directly off a paper mill, so it's extremely efficient and it's cheap. So to the customer, it's about a penny per joint for the paper, and then 2 pennies for the tip. So again, as you scale, those numbers become important, and so it's like start ordering, inventory. If you're doing that with cones, you're going to have a huge minimum order quantity, and it's going to be long lead time. So you got to get a ton of them. We stock all this in the United States. So like you can literally just have this overnighted to you, and you don't need to hold the inventory. So it kind of helps you operate in a lean practice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Nice. And
yeah,
it's cool that it comes right off the paper mill.
yeah. I mean, it's oldest paper mill in the world. It's in France. Yeah, really high quality paper too. They supply paper to 90% of the tobacco industry, so it's all FDA regulated, super clean.
Wow. And then here's the end here.
Yep,
Pre-roll
yep,
perfection.
yeah, yep. That's how they pop out.
No, I'm glad. So I'm a visual learner, so to walk through it is super helpful. So I hope that those listening or even watching, it was helpful as well. And so the machine behind you, I'm gonna take a guess. Is that the Blackbird XXL? Or I mean, tell me about the XXL or what that is. Let's get into the whole
Yes.
product line, Kyle.
So this machine is actually like just like a commemorative machine. So this is the 200th unit, and my team we always wanted to do like a chrome bird, because they're all into bikes and cars and stuff, and so they wanted to do one that's all like chromed out.
It's
So
nice.
yeah, it's legit and it rolls. I mean, I have it hooked up to Aaron here, so like I'll bring people in and we'll roll some joints. Everything was electro polished, which is like it's a pretty overkill way to to surface anything, but it's just kind of cool, It's like 200th machine. They wanted to do something fun.
Totally. And it's a great conversation starter because those visiting, if they're prospective customers or whatever, they get to see it firsthand and they get to experience it. So why not, bling it out a bit? I get what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the XXL, yeah, we just launched that on Thursday. I mean, it's legit. Like it's
Whoa.
so yeah, so made in a very similar manner. So it's got like, very even density all the way down. This like little cigar band here is like actually it's added in like during the rolling process. So like this is literally like how the blunts like roll off the machine. It's like, yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
it's dope. Yeah. And it does, so the sizes is it goes from 10 millimeter crutches up to 12 and a half. So that'll accommodate like roughly like 1.5 grams up to 2.5 grams. But depending on like if you infuse your flower, then you can actually get quite a bit higher. So I've seen as high as like 3 grams in a blunt. So like you can it really just it opens up the doors of possibilities for like what you're looking to create with the machine.
Wow. And that was just announced on Thursday, last Thursday, you said? Okay, so
Yeah,
hot off the press.
yeah, we've been working on it for a long time, but yeah, we finally got everything dialed in, and yeah, we had a whole party out here. It was awesome. Flew in a bunch of current customers. It was really fun.
Well, congrats. That's really exciting. Um, Tell me about this expansion for RollPros into packaging and design services. What does this mean for cannabis brands?
Yeah, so it's, we've always been very much like help us create your product, like so even the Blackbird, from like the different paper types to the different filter tips. I designed the machine to be very versatile so you can really create anything that you want with it. And then, you know, we saw people, we take them all the way through the process, creating just the product that they want. And then we just like hand them off to be like, all right, now go get your packaging and get rolling. And I just saw it as like another opportunity for us to like share our expertise, because we've seen, now like 200 machines, like we've seen a lot of people try different packaging, and we found kind of like what we think works and like what's the most like economical solution. So yeah, we just we started staffing up to be like, all right, like now after you get set on your Blackbird, let's talk to packaging, and like let's get you in touch with our graphic designer, and see if we can't create something that really speaks to you guys.
And what has the reception been so far?
I mean, so far it's been great. Like people love the added like, just like one stop shop, I mean,
Right.
it's like super easy, and like we have great pricing too. So it's like because we can bulk order in a certain, SKU, we're able to, spread out those savings to all of our customers. So, yeah, it's been great. People are loving it. It's definitely a new challenge for us. But like I'm always down for new challenges.
How long have you all been live with those services?
Packaging, I think we've been doing it for like a couple months now. It hasn't been
Okay.
too long. Yeah,
Okay.
so we just kind of got all we went through all the different, like this is the little box that I really like.
Oh, that's nice.
Just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just like a little mini cigarette box, and then this is what is a 6 pack in a little like cellophane pouch.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny though, like if packaging is similar to like apparel, it's like everybody's kind of got their own like ideal, and so like I'm like, oh, I love this. These are gonna hit. Customers are gonna just, but then it's like you actually put it out there, and like they're like, no, we want these little tubes, and you're like, shit, like
That's definitely happens a lot where like you think it's amazing and even maybe the team around you is like yeah and then it gets to market and it doesn't resonate. But it's also like I view the creative world kind of like that as well, and I tend to step away when there is creative brainstorms, not because I don't want to add value. I just know that everyone, their perceptions are different and they're all coming in with, different predispositions and whatnot. So I kind of wait to see what lands. And then, if it fits, I'll kind of add it in. But if not, I don't want to disrupt the train moving. I don't know if you feel the same way.
totally. Oh,
Yeah.
totally. I totally agree. There's like this like fine line between like creative brainstorming and like constructive brainstorming, I feel like, and it's like every now and then we get lost on the like, what color are we gonna make it or how does this make us feel? And I'm like, no. Like we gotta leave that to like marketing because that's their bag.
Yeah, and that should have already been kind of created, right? Like that's kind of the foundation that then is what you pass on to kind of evolve on that structure. So yeah, no, I'm with you completely. Speaking of these new challenges in packaging, I mean, are there any other innovation gaps that you're seeing within the cannabis industry, and like where do we need to go next in that regard? I think that's a good kind of segue to wrap up too. This is a little more
Yeah.
deep
That's a good
response, but yeah.
It's good. I mean, that's a good one. I mean, I think that, I'm all about empowering the little guys, like I'm a big fan of craft. And so like, you know, anything that I can do to help take somebody that's just got a really like awesome flower and make it so that they can get, something like this to market just as cheap as possible, high quality, low cost means high value. And so that's where I'm kind of looking at like packaging machines, like so that's one thing is as you do scale, like with the machine just takes one person, but now you got, 100,000 joints coming out the end of it. So it's like you gotta put them into packaging. So I think that's for at least for us, the next step is like, okay, how do we package this, without creating another huge, expensive machine, but like how do we do it just like incrementally? Um, and I think that's where like automation needs to go is like kind of be this like in between where it's like instead of like one giant $1 million machine that you put whole bud in and then it comes out packaged like this, it's like, well, and it does it at like the tune of millions of joints a month.
Hmm.
Like how do you just like make it more efficient for like five guys in a garage, that's like really trying to like take on these giants.
Right. Are there any aspects of the cannabis production or consumption areas where it's ripe for engineering disruption?
Interesting. I mean, I always felt like dry herb vaping was like a kind of like had didn't get enough attention, like I know that's the volcano was big when it came out.
Yep.
And there's a couple of like handheld things.
The ones
So
that
I
you like
think,
really heat up and like to where it doesn't burn the flower, but like you said, it heats it up to vape it. I've seen those. Yeah, they're like made of wood, some of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
heat, not burn. That's the like, and there's people like I was just in Italy and like that's big in tobacco over there is like these little like heat, not burn cartridges. And it's for tobacco. So you put this little cartridge in and you get nicotine from it, but you don't actually like ignite the tobacco. And
Interesting.
so Yeah, it was kind of like I think that there's still something there.
Yeah.
Uh, Not sure like how that's going to manifest, but I don't know. I think there's innovation everywhere.
I'm sure there's some team out there, there's some company tinkering or at least working to address the challenges to innovate. I mean, that's what we do as humans, right? It's a beautiful thing.
Totally, totally. It's a very uniquely human thing to do. It's like to look at this and be like, how can I do this better?
Exactly. And that's what you're doing at Roll Pros, Kyle. Congratulations, on how far you've come in just such a short time since we last talked. So, really appreciate the updates with Blackbird and Blackbird XXL, as well as your new expansion into packaging and design, man. Wish you the best of luck. I'm sure we'll have you on again real soon. Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with before we go?
Um, yeah, question what's in your pre-roll, and look for a straight roll joint, and give me some feedback on it. Find me, I'm on the socials, I'm on LinkedIn. Send me a note. Like I am open for feedback.
And check out the website, right? Rollpros.com. Pretty easy
Yeah,
to
that's
find.
right. Check it out.
Awesome. Well, Kyle, thanks again, man. It was great talking with you, and we appreciate everyone for listening and watching. Until next time, bye.
All right, thank you.
Cannabinoid Connect, the nation's most diverse cannabis related podcast.